Hello everyone and welcome to book 13 of the architectural books flip through series. In this one we're going to talk about the book named, or book title basically, Archispeak by Tom Porter. It's 181 pages, published in 2004. Okay, so my first, let me see. My first thought about this book is that it does say illustrated, but I didn't see a lot of illustrations in the book. So what we're gonna do now is just flip through the book and check the vocabulary he's gonna, mention in the book. Now, if you're an architecture student or you're interested in architecture or you want to write about architecture or talk about it, there's a certain language that comes with it. There's a lot of terms and vocabulary that architects use to explain their ideas or their concepts. So he said here it's the 330 most used terms in architectural debate. So if you're watching like an architectural panel, or maybe one of these, when a lot of architects sit or make lectures about their work, sometimes some of the vocabulary can be a bit different, I would say. But let's see what he has. So my only thing, it's not a problem basically, but it's too condensed. So when or maybe my copy is not good, I'm not sure. So the words are not, they're not formatted in a way where, each word has its own format. But other than that, I'm sure there's a lot of terms here that you can use. So we have here analog, anchoring, animate, anthropomorphic. Okay, interesting. Let me see what it means. The term anthropomorphic applies human characteristic, motivation, or behavior to those of animals, natural phenomena, or inanimate objects. Interesting. Okay. Place has a meaning. Arcology. So it's layouted alphabetically, so I'm assuming A till Z. So let's see. I'm not gonna highlight every single word I see, but I'm sure if you get a chance to have the book, you're gonna have to highlight it. It's a bit too condensed for me, to be honest, especially if it's a dictionary kind of style. Could be a bit too much. Let me see what else. There's a lot of nice vocabulary in here that you don't find in other books, I would say. So it's basically more, if you have an architectural design and you want to sound more like, you know what you're saying, and you want to express a lot of these well-versed, words to make it more, to elevate, a lot of architecture is basically language. So if you can elevate your designing your concept using a lot of well-versed, articulate vocabulary, then yeah, you might actually have a really good design, or even, people would like to know more about your thought process and what you want to say about your project, basically. Cat monkey is a term I really didn't like. They're referring to draftsmen, and I love AutoCAD. I'm not sure why people hated it or didn't like it. I do understand it's a lot of work and a lot of repetitive, dull office work. And once you graduate from architecture, all you want to do is design, and then you're like, why am I doing all this detailed work? But you have to do your internship, and a building cannot be designed without doing all the technical details. Cartesian grid is very important. Let me see. I mean, some words even you're like, you use it in your daily life in a way, but then when it comes to architectural concepts and terms, it means something else. So something to get note of. Let me see. Like celebrate, Next. Shut it. So we're at this letter C. So C, like I'm saying, he said it's illustrated guide, but I didn't see that much illustrations. I think it would be a very thick book if he decided to illustrate every single, what do you say, term that he has. But all in all, is really comprehensive dictionary, I would say, especially for architecture. What does it say here? The cubist canvas was the locus where the painter simultaneously presented several aspects gathered successively with the purpose of suggesting a higher reality. We'll highlight this one. Oops. Okay. My highlighter is just... Okay, there we go. What else? Cyberspace. Cybernetics. Coop Himmelblau's project was one of their best designs that I've seen. It was one of the reasons why I didn't quit architecture school, to be honest. This rooftop office is just... It was the most beautiful design I've ever seen, and then I'm like, I want to do that one day, but I didn't. So maybe one day, we'll never know. Deconstructivism is something you will hear a lot of time. It was basically philosophical, I would say, and by Jacques Derrida, and then it just found its way to architecture and architectural design. So it was interesting. What else? Defensible space. Defensible space is a highly residential environment which can be employed by inhabitants for the enhancement of their lives while providing security for their families, neighbors, and friends. Oscar Newman. Okay. Next. Dance. Design genesis. What give our dreams their dreaming is that they can be achieved. Le Corbusier, a lot of students' favorite architect. Design intent, design rationale. Let me just highlight these. Next, diachronic. Diagram. Diagram is very important architecture. See this here? This is basically what we do when we analyze buildings. Well, programs of buildings. And so basically, let's say you have to design a school, then you're going to have programs. And these here we call bubble diagrams. So basically you say you have to have an entrance, and you have to have classrooms or bathrooms. So what do? You make them in bubbles, and then you start drawing these arrows where it's like the relationship between these spaces or these functions. So this is basically what diagramming is, and it's very important, especially when you're designing the first stages of your building. It's really good to know how these spaces have relationships with each other and how they interact with each other, and the hierarchy, like which is more important. Even sometimes the size of the bubble can be like the size of the space itself. So like the entrance is small and the hallway is long, or like the cafeteria is large. So it's like an easy, fast way to come up with design concepts and ideas when you're designing in the first stages of your building. So diagramming, dialogue. That's a very intense diagram. Site analysis. Okay, yeah. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Site analysis is something you do when you have a site. So every building in the world has a site, and every site is very unique. to the, it's very unique basically. So let's say you have a building and you have to put a building in that site. So you have to understand the site. Where's the wind coming from? Where's the sun coming? Like, where's it rising? Where's it setting? Is there a street? Is there a lot of traffic in it? Are a lot of people walking there? Is there existing plants in there? Is there a landscape? How are the surrounding buildings? Are they high? Are they low? How do the surrounding buildings look like? Are they modern? Are they traditional? Are they classic? Is there a monument nearby? Is there light? Is there, all these factors, or all these site elements are very important when you want to design your building. You cannot just be like, I have a box and there's the functions that I want. I'm just gonna superimpose the building on that site regardless of what's surrounding it. I mean, the minimum we can do is make sure it fits. So that's also like something you have to take into consideration. But site analysis diagrams are very important for sites, and you really have to understand your site before you start drawing your first line even, or sketching the dream building you want. So next is diffusion, dimension, disjunction, dualism. Okay, I think I'm taking longer than I should, so I'm just gonna go faster. Dystopia, eclecticism. I mean, these are like already concepts. Like, if you have to submit a design concept by now, it can be like, my concept is elegance, my concept is enclosure, or I want to explain, or I did this because I wanted the enclosure to be like this, So you have to try to incorporate these incorporate these words into your vocabulary when you're trying to explain your architectural design. And it really goes a very long way when you're, standing in your panel and your vocabulary isn't that much. And, when you're starting, what do you know other than, we don't call doors and windows, we call them openings. We don't say, some people will be like, that's too pretentious, but honestly, it's a way where you can elevate the way of thinking of the person who's listening to you, or the person who's trying to understand your concept or your design. So this is a good book, to be honest. Regardless of what I said about the format or the layout, it's a good read to enjoy. Engage, entourage, section, envelope, okay. Ephemeralization. Oh my god, I don't know what that means. So yeah. So there's a lot of words you have never heard of before that could be very beneficial. Euclidean space, existential. Existence is a dice game played by an innocent godchild. I don't like that saying. I'm a bit religious, so I get sensitive about these things. Let me see. So there's a lot of quotes. Like here we have Frank Lloyd Wright, form follows function, certainly, but who the hell cares? It's the form and the function, not reducing that to some scientific analysis that will separate it and take it all apart. We want it together. We want the poetry of the thing. I agree. He really liked organic architecture, which is basically architecture that is very sensitive to the site. So I like the way he thinks. Frank Lloyd Wright. Functionalism. What else? Futurism. This one. Buckminster Fuller. Really is a pioneer in a lot of things in architecture, and a lot of his designs are just very well done, and he really did a good job. Gestalt, gesture, golden section. Oh, is it? Yeah. Okay. Grid, heroic. Grids are very important in architecture. There's a lot of things you can do if you understand how to make grids. A lot of good designs have amazing grids. So if you can master the art of grid, this is a trick in architecture, you can come up with really good designs. So there's that. Hierarchy, heterarchy, high tech, low tech. Oops. Okay, never mind. Icon. So these are really good architectural terms. I mean, it really separates from terms that are more structural or terms that are more civil engineerish, I would say. And you know, these are very good concepts to use in architecture. That's why I would totally recommend this book. Methodology, you can totally read it, have fun, enjoy it, learn a lot, and use it in your daily life, or yeah, with your architectural submissions maybe, and your essays. So it's a simple concept of a book that is very dense and well written. So enough of science and of art, close up those barren leaves, come forth and bring with you a heart that watches and receives. William Wordsworth. Phenomenology. Okay. Feeling is all Goethe. Okay, let me do this. Pictorial space, planner, transparency, poetic, precedent, let me see, quantum, maybe personal space. Okay. Regulating lines, reconfigure, reciprocity. Okay, sacrificial, storyboard. This is really important. A lot of architecture is basically visual, so sometimes if you present a storyboard that comes with your design, it could be a very strong point. Okay, let's read this. The seminal idea of my work is the constant distinction between the areas that are served and the areas that serve. And that distinguishes, in my opinion, modern architecture from old architecture. He's a winner of the Aga Khan Award for architecture. I'm not sure which building it was, to be honest, I forgot. But he's one of the famous architects that did amazing work. Okay, service shed, shear, straight lines, visual field, site appraisal or site analysis, speciality. The death rate is 1 per person. Okay, not sure what that means. Strip my kingdom. Okay. Superimpose. This one is a very important concept. It's basically when you have a building that doesn't belong to the site and you know it, like you did it on purpose. Which is basically, is it? I mean, now I'm looking in like overlap the replacement, technique of collage. That's very not very translucent materials. Oh, really? Effects, geometric. Oh, so wrong. Okay. I thought superimposing was basically if we have a structure of a building that is just overly scaled and it doesn't fit with the surrounding, but here it says superimpose is another term for layering and overlaying one object or plane on another through the overlapped association of disparate elements, as in technique of collage. The act of superimposition can cause a new consideration and open the door to surprise and revelation. The experience of an architectural superimposition involving opaque, transparent, and translucent materials creates diffusion, overlap, penetration, and parallax, bodily movement causing these impressions to animate into a kaleidoscope experience a fascination with the visual side effects of superimposed geometric nets causing degrees of filter transparency and an optical interference known as moire is exemplified in the works of many artists and architects. Superimposition is a key device in deconstructivist blurring of boundaries between film, literature, and architecture. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Okay, good to know. Surrealism. Let me see. The Dada was the... Okay, sustainability. This is a very popular and very important concept, to be honest, in architecture. Symbolism, symmetry, synesthesia. I don't know what's wrong with me, but okay. Synesthesia. 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 It's gonna take a while. Okay, never mind. Moving on. Next. Tectonics, temperate, density. I feel like I'm gonna need Google to read not half, but like some of the words that I cannot pronounce. Theory, thesis. We're still at letter T. Okay. This is supposed to be a fast flip through, but I think, we're done, thank God. I feel like I took longer than I should. Zoning, Zen. And that's it. Here's the further reading, which I don't think I'm gonna check because that was more than enough for today. And hopefully you guys had fun and probably enjoyed me trying hard to read some of the words, but we'll live and learn. And yeah, I would totally recommend this book as a, reading material. Not so many visual illustrations in it, which is okay, to be honest, because it is a dictionary book. So yeah, I would recommend this book. Archispeak, good job, loved it. It was a great book. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I guess I'll see you next time.